Right, hello and welcome to the very first episode of Film FM, the podcast series where we talk about and analyse our favourite films that we've recently watched. My name is Alfie and I'm joined with
Alex
and
Connor.
And on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about The Batman. Quite an impressive film.
Certainly.
Hands down, I think I would say the film of 2022, was it?
Yeah, I believe it was 2022.
I absolutely loved it. As a Batman fan and a DC fan, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I remember when it first got announced and it came out that obviously Matt Reeves was directing it, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, that's brilliant." Everyone was happy with that, and then it came out that Robert Pattinson was actually the Batman, Twilight vampire boy, and everyone was like, "Oh dear." I remember it being quite a controversial casting choice, but it actually turned out quite well. I won't lie.
Yeah, I was very happy with it after it came out. I won't lie, I was definitely one of the people that saw the casting and thought...
Did you walk into the cinema a bit tense, mate? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Walked into it thinking, "Oh dear, vampire boy is going to he's going to butcher this. He's going to stink the place out." Exactly. But no, it came out quite good actually. What are you thinking, Alex? What are you saying?
I mean, I think he's in The Lighthouse before he did Batman. I think I was kind of won over. Not that I'd seen the movie, but I think hearing from people that he'd been in stuff that wasn't Twilight, I think I was kind of convinced before the film started.
I actually didn't realise he was in The Lighthouse. I saw a lot of really good stuff about that.
I should probably give it a watch at some
we
point.
probably should
watch
that.
I'm not going to lie, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, but is this like a future potential podcast episode where we cover The Lighthouse?
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
It's like a black and white film with like Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
Oh,
like
is
a
that
lighthouse.
the one? Well, I've seen memes of him where he's just like, "Fortnite." Is that the one where he does that?
Yeah, I have no idea. It might be. Yeah,
it is.
It's William Dafoe in black and white, and he looks
probably then
crazy. So that might be The Lighthouse. Well, who knows? Maybe in the future we'll cover The Lighthouse on Film FM. Anyway, speaking of, well, you know what? Confusion, we'll call it. We had confusion with actors, with Robert Pattinson, but we also had confusion on the characters in the film, specifically between the Riddler and Hush, because it did say, if you remember in the trailer, there was writing on the wall and it said Hush, but also there were reports of people saying that the Riddler was, the main villain. And I think that threw people quite a bit, especially because if you looked at the character design for the Riddler, his head was wrapped up exactly like Hush's, so I think people were a bit kind of...
Well, I mean, he looks more like the Zodiac Killer than he does Hush. Hush is
he does.
Bandages,
Yeah, I'm fairly sure Matt Reeves actually said in an interview that is kind of, he drew inspiration from the Zodiac Killer for Riddler, which is, it's quite cool. I do like it. It's a very, grounded.
It's a unique choice for the Riddler.
Definitely.
Compared to some of his older outfits.
Definitely.
I know my old media teacher, he's obviously an older fella. He was actually very disappointed in the whole thing of it not being Hush.
Really?
Yeah, because I think he thought it was going to be Hush, and he was saying, he looks exactly, the mask reminds it of him so much, and I think he preferred Hush. It
would have been quite cool to see Hush in, because we've never actually gotten a film with
Hush,
him in. I mean, we have had a film with Riddler in, but to be honest, I mean, I think was it 2?
He's in he's the main villain of the 60s Batman movie.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well, they're all in it, but he's sort of the main one.
I mean, both portrayals, both Jim Carrey and I don't know
Frank Gorshin.
Frank. Well, there you go.
Jim
Both
Carrey.
were very camp,
yeah.
very camp portrayals of a love character. So I think it was quite nice for fans to be able to see a much more darker, more twisted, evil version of
more
the Riddler. More grounded, definitely more grounded. Speaking of the Riddler as well, I think a lot of people were quite shocked to find out that Matt Reeves, the director of the film, Matt Reeves had chosen to have the Riddler be the main villain of the story, not the Joker, because a lot of very classic Batman tales, very classic Batman storylines have the Joker as the main villain. So to see the Riddler as the main villain, it was quite, quite different for audiences.
I think a lot of people would have thought they would have went with the Joker, trying to start strong.
Yes,
since it is a reboot.
It's his origin as well.
Yeah.
The Batman, he's only 2 years in, so I think people were expecting to see, maybe Batman and Joker's first confrontation.
I'd rather not have the Joker. I think he's in too much stuff, to be honest.
I do agree that he is overused. Yeah. I do agree with that. I think
also
that's
agree.
A good point. But still, he made an appearance in it.
Yeah, briefly.
I think it worked out quite well in hindsight. I think it was quite cool to have the Riddler as the main villain instead of the Joker. But I do also think it was quite cool to see him in the film. And it was done in a way that you don't see it, but Batman had already encountered the Joker for the first time, locked him away in Arkham Asylum. I think that was quite a unique way of telling the story. But it worked out really well. I really, really, really liked it.
What do you think of the Joker design in the movie? Not that you get much of a good look at it.
He's fucking messed.
Yeah, he looks horrid.
He looks amazing though. Who's the guy that is the Irish guy, isn't he, that plays
Barry Keoghan, something
Barry
like that.
Keoghan?
I don't know.
Let's not butcher that name anymore. We'll move past that. But
good choice, probably.
Definitely a good choice. We've had some really, really good Joker actors. Obviously, the late Heath Ledger, who did an amazing job. Jack Nicholson, an older one, but also very, very cool. And obviously a more recent incarnation as well was Joaquin Phoenix. Everyone, I really, really, really liked Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is a very good actor.
Absolutely amazing, very talented, very gifted, and him playing Joker was amazing.
Smart.
Only won Best Actor, I think.
Did he?
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm almost certain.
I mean, well deserved. Definitely well deserved.
Did very well for himself.
100%. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, moving away from actors, and the characters of the film, both in real life and the fictional portrayal of the characters, I want to talk about the cinematography of the film and how it was shot, because this film, it was a very dark and gritty and realistic take on these beloved characters and these classic storylines. But I think the way the film was shot reflects this kind of idea very, very well, because it is very, it's I think I watched like an interview with the cinematographers and stuff for the film, and they said they rubbed Vaseline on the lenses of the cameras to shoot certain scenes of to shoot certain scenes of the film, just to give it like a really kind of almost grainy, distorted kind of look to the film,
as if he was out on the streets.
Exactly, yeah. It's a bit more kind of personal. They use lots of kind of close-ups, a lot of kind of very dill. That's not a word. Dill's not a word. Well, it is, but very kind of dull, dark settings. Obviously it's a Batman story, so it's going to be at night. But it feels almost, watching it feels kind of claustrophobic, and it feels very dark and sinister, and that I think perfectly reflects what the Batman is in this film, and how more realistic portrayals and versions of the characters can be. I personally really, really like the way it was shot. It has its own charm, unique charm to it.
Yeah, I was very impressed, especially when we first get to see the Batman.
Oh yes,
it's good, isn't it?
Yes.
The build up to that moment is so good.
The scenes where the bat signals in the sky and all the criminals are afraid of it and stuff.
That was amazing.
I think that's so cool how the film doesn't even need to show the Batman. It just shows something as simple as the bat signal in the sky, and criminals are shitting their pants.
Yeah, it was the idea of it just being the darkness was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, he is darkness, and obviously he is shadows. That was so cool.
Yeah,
and then like you say, actually seeing him for the first time, walking out of that. Was it like an alleyway, or I don't know what he walked out?
Weren't they in like
They're in like a subway station.
A subway, yeah, you're right. I'm almost certain.
But he's walking out of the darkness, and you don't even see him at first. You just see you hear the boots, and you hear the rain kind of falling off him and his cape, and you see like the third of the boots, and it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, he gave me a very
goosebumps.
Yeah,
goosebumps.
Very slashery, wasn't it?
Yes, very kind of like, slashery, horror-ish almost. He was. It kind of showed you the Batman through the criminal's eyes, and I think that was really
sort of the
really
monster
cool.
that
very
they
smart.
perceive
Yes, because at that point in his story, he's like this ungodly figure. He's not human. He's this almost monster that lives in Gotham, that haunts.
People don't even know if he's real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like this myth. He's urban legend. He's the Batman real. Does he even exist? But yeah, just that scene where he's walking out of the darkness, his boots are thudding. It's so good. It's so cool.
It's a great introduction.
100%.
I think they say in the scene that like just having the signal on, just the idea that he might be out there just stops a lot of criminals actually doing anything.
It really shows
really cool.
how powerful he is as this kind of figure of authority, and how terrifying he actually is. And the music and the score that accompanies it as well, it builds up over the series, and over the series of scenes that show the bat signal and stuff. When you actually come to finally see him walking out of the shadows, it's oh my god, it's perfect. It's perfect.
What did you think about the Penguin?
This kind of brings us back to an earlier point, and we talked about casting and how they made some interesting choices. I think casting Colin Farrell as the Penguin was a very interesting choice, because I remember when people first heard that, they were like, oh, that's a bit of a weird one. But after, we first saw him with all the makeup and all the prosthetics,
he's unrecognisable.
He's unrecognisable. They did such a good job. The makeup team did such a good job of literally transforming him into this almost like Godfather-esque, like Italian mobster. It was so cool to see him, and he transformed, not just physically but also like mentally. Like he became the Penguin. He became the embodiment of him.
I think he's in it as much as he needs to be, but like he's not a central focus. He just sort of serves.
He's
as
almost like
a
side character.
As the side character, like the right hand man to Carmine Falcone.
Yeah,
and he's gonna take over, I suppose, in the wake of his death, because they're planning to make it, or they've filmed, like a Penguin series.
Is that still going ahead, or?
I think so. I think it's been filmed. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I did not know that.
Set in between the first and second film.
Yeah, because the way they left the film, obviously, spoilers ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
hopefully you've watched the film before this.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
You'd hope so. But Carmine Falcone ends up dying, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And the city ends up getting flooded because the Riddler blows up the dam that protects the city from being flooded. So the city ends up being flooded. And the last kind of shot you see of the Penguin is of him in a building looking out the window and almost like surveying his domain. Like the city's flooded, and it's almost like this playground for him now to with really
with all the chaos.
And
it gives Falcone's dead. He's got his chance to take over.
Yeah, he really has the chance now to kind of rise up from this mess and become the king of like the underworld and the scum of Gotham. And I think that'll be really, really cool for them to explore in this new Penguin TV show.
Funny, really, isn't it? Because I can't quite remember which Batman film it is, but we have seen a Penguin before in an older Batman.
He's in Batman Returns with Danny DeVito, and he's quite a monstrous version of the character.
Oh yeah,
and
I know that one. Yeah,
Burgess Meredith plays him in the '60s, where he's he's very campy, as all the '60s versions are.
All very campy.
And there's been a couple of other versions, but those are the only film ones. Like there was one
Batman
in
Returns with Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito.
Is that the one where does he try to flood the city in that one as well?
No, I think he tries to kidnap like the children of the rich.
Oh yeah,
if I recall correctly.
See, it's been ages since I've watched Batman Returns.
He's nothing like a traditional version of the Penguin. That's very Burton-esque.
Yeah, I love that kind. I think Tim Burton's style, and
it's very unique.
It's very unique, and it goes hand in hand with kind of Batman and all that really, really, really well. I feel they go together like what's the saying? They go together like
butter on bread. I don't know.
We'll go with butter on bread. They go together like butter on bread. But speaking of Tim Burton's film, more the wider, vast array of Batman films, because there is a lot of Batman films ever since the character first got created back in Detective Comics in the 1920s, was it?
I think it might have been 1939.
1939.
I could be wrong.
I need to brush up on my Batman history, but anyway, there's been a lot of variations and incarnations of the character in film, especially. And I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts on, if you had to compare the Batman, the new Batman film, and compare it to something like the Nolan trilogy or the Dark Knight, if you wanted to be more specific, or any other Batman film, what would you kind of say? What would you say is better?
I think it is the best Batman movie.
What, the Batman?
Yeah, and I don't think Pattinson's the best Batman. I think that's Michael Keaton.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I think it's just the most solid version of any film.
That's an interesting take.
I just think the Dark Knight has... the Dark Knight's great, but there's just kind of that last bit with Two-Face, which is pretty rushed, I think. But I think this whole film's just very solid.
Yeah, I think...
You reckon this is the best overall? Like, they don't really miss too much, is the idea you're going for?
I think... the Batman is... See, I'd say that it's the best, like, best interpretation of Batman early on in his career, but all you've really got against, like, that is Batman Begins. And Batman Begins was good, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but I think if you had to put the Batman against Batman Begins, I think the Batman would...
I think it's better.
I think it'd come out on top.
Better than Ra's al Ghul, I think.
There might be some people that would fight us on that, and
probably
agree otherwise. But
we'd have to fight them, wouldn't we?
We'd fight them.
Yeah, I think we'd win
head on. Be like when you first see the Batman, and he goes, "Who the hell are you?" and he beats the guy up, and he goes, "What does he say?
Vengeance.
I'm vengeance." Like that. I'm vengeance. Yeah.
I thought it was really cool saying that.
It was brilliant. But yeah, I think, would you say that this, the new Batman film is like the definitive Batman film? Like, if you had to recommend a Batman film to somebody to watch, would you recommend the Batman? Would you say it's the best one out there?
Of the live action ones, certainly, I think.
I think you would just have to. I mean, I think the fact that it is more dark and gritty helps.
A much more realistic
personally.
interpretation.
I quite like that.
I really like
version.
it as well. Yeah.
I feel like there's no point in romanticising some of the old ones. I think this is probably, for being realistic.
See, I need to watch them all like back to back, because then I'll be able to properly say. No, I agree with Connor on that one. I think definitely, I love the Batman. I think it might be my favourite portrayal of the character in movies anyway. Obviously, if we're thinking comics or TV or even video games, it's different altogether. But
I think it's certainly up there. How did you find the suit?
The suit,
the suit was very good, wasn't it?
No, right. The suit is hands down my favourite version of like a bat suit in live action anyway.
I think probably
love the suit. I love like how his utility belt, he's just like a policeman's belt, but he's just got extra shit on there. Like his wingsuit as well, like the bat gliding thing.
That's kind of cool.
That was really cool.
Can move his neck as well, can't he?
Yeah. His suit, like his cowl, looks like it's been hand stitched and stuff. Like you can tell that.
Very robust.
Yeah, it's very like you can tell he's made it himself, and you can tell he's thrown it together himself, and you can tell, like it looks very functional. It looks like it does the job. It looks like it does what it needs, but it also looks very rough and looks like it needs a lot of fine tuning and improvement. And that reflects, it's only Batman in his second year two. Yeah.
To be fair, like thinking about it logically, it should really be like that. It should be that he's made it, because as much as he's rich, he can't just commission someone to make his Batman suit.
Yeah, it's true. It was the same in the Nolan trilogy as well. You've like in
part, it's construct it from various parts, so it didn't look suspicious.
Buying it off Lucius Fox, isn't it? And then he eventually lets on to Lucius that he is Batman. Because at first, what did he say? I'm going spelunking.
I don't think there's ever a scene where they, in the Dark Knight trilogy, where they talk about that he knows he's Batman. I think he just does, and
he just all of a sudden knows.
I think he figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
it's kind of like they both know what's going on, but neither of them are going to bring up the bat in the room.
Yeah, the bat. Nice clown words.
Weirdly bought a Batman mask.
No, I agree. No, he didn't buy it. He
constructed it. He had to buy the
materials for it.
Of materials.
And stuff. And then because it was that same way, like he broke it and it just shattered instantly.
And they got to buy 5,000 more or whatever.
Yeah, just so it doesn't look suspicious.
Yeah,
I remember that. Interesting. But yeah, no, honestly, to wrap it up, I would say that if you haven't watched the Batman, then why did you even listen to this in the first place? You've spoiled it all for yourself.
What would you give it out of 10?
See, I don't think I don't want to say 10/10 because that seems like.
I don't think there ever can be a
Yeah, I don't think
movie.
there ever can be a 10/10. Just any movie in general, not necessarily.
The moment you
Batman
give
film.
something a 10, there's no
beating it, and I don't think anything is perfect. Yeah, everything can be improved on. So I think
I give it a 9.
I agree with that. Yeah, I give the Batman a 9.
9.
I think a 9 is a very, very fair and respectable score to give the film. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for in today's episode. I don't know about you guys, but I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, same.
I really, really did think. I think we judged it and talked about it in a fair and respectful way. That it definitely deserves, because it Matt Reeves and the director and Robert Pattinson, everyone that had some sort of helping hand in the film did an amazing job, and they crafted a film that is phenomenal in my opinion.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it then.
Yeah. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and the newly rebranded X. I still want to call it Twitter sometimes. And we'll see you next week, where we'll talk about another film with Paul Dano in Prisoners.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
What a film.
Yeah. Brilliant film. Brilliant film.
Then?
Yes, definitely watch it before next week's episode, because once again, if you don't, it will be spoiled for you, so please watch it.
Okay, that's it then.
Yeah, until then, though, we'll see you all next time. It's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
See you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.